Welcome to a new episode of Sleep Journey Through Lost Worlds, your podcast for relaxing, letting go, and learning. Are you familiar with our other Sleep Journey series, such as Sleep Journey Through the Universe? Tonight, we travel together to one of the most extraordinary archaeological discoveries of the 20th century, a place where ancient China's might and mystery converge in silent testimony beneath the earth. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it gently for a moment and release it slowly through your mouth. Let your shoulders drop, release any tension in your jaw, and allow yourself to sink deeper into wherever you are resting. We are journeying to the year 1974, to the Xi'an province in central China, near the modern city of Xi'an. Farmers are digging a well during a drought, their shovels breaking through the dry, compacted earth. Suddenly, they strike something hard. Fragments of terracotta, a human head. They have discovered something that had been hidden for more than 2,000 years. The Terracotta Army of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of unified China. But let us travel back further to 246 BC, when a 13-year-old boy named Yingzheng ascended to the throne of the Qin state. This young ruler would transform himself into Qin Shi Huang, meaning first emperor of Qin, and would unify the warring states of China into a single empire by 221 BCE. His reign, though lasting only 11 years after unification, would forever change the course of Chinese civilization. He standardized currency, weights, measures, and even the width of cart axles so that vehicles could travel smoothly along rutted roads throughout his empire. He standardized the Chinese writing system, creating a common language of administration that would bind diverse peoples together. But Qin Shi Huang was also obsessed with immortality and what would happen after his death. According to the ancient historian Sima Qian, writing a century after the emperor's death, the construction of his mausoleum began as soon as he took the throne and as a young teenager. Over 700,000 workers labored for decades to create an underground necropolis of unprecedented scale and complexity. Breathe deeply. Feel yourself traveling through time, through layers of earth and history, descending into this hidden world. The Terracotta Army itself comprises an estimated 8,000 soldiers, 130 chariots with 520 horses and 150 cavalry horses. These figures were created to protect the emperor in the afterlife, to serve as his eternal guardians in the realm beyond death. Each figure is life-sized, standing between 5 feet 7 inches and 6 feet 5 inches tall, roughly the height range of actual Qin dynasty soldiers. What makes this army truly extraordinary is that no two faces are identical. Each warrior was crafted with individual features, different nose shapes, eye configurations, facial hair patterns, and expressions. Some historians believe the sculptors used actual soldiers as models, creating portraits of real men who served in the emperor's army. The level of detail is astonishing. You can see the treads on the soles of their shoes, the intricate patterns on their armor, the individual strands of hair in their top knots. The warriors were not always the grey terracotta color we see today. Originally, they were painted in brilliant, vibrant colors: red, blue, green, purple, yellow, and white. The pigments were made from minerals: malachite for green, azurite for blue, cinnabar for red, and ground bone for white. Traces of these pigments can still be detected in the crevices of the figures, but exposure to air causes the lacquer base to curl and flake within minutes of excavation, taking the paint with it. When archaeologists first uncovered the warriors, they witnessed colors fading before their eyes, a heart-breaking reminder of how fragile even stone and clay can be. Let your breathing slow. Imagine you are walking through the excavation pits, the vast underground corridors that house these silent sentinels. Pit 1 is the largest, measuring approximately 230 meters long and 62 meters wide. It contains the main army formation, 11 corridors filled with more than 6,000 figures arranged in battle formation. The vanguard consists of 3 rows of crossbow archers, with infantrymen and charioteers behind them. These warriors once held real weapons, bronze swords, spears, crossbows, and arrows. Remarkably, when archaeologists excavated these bronze weapons, they discovered the swords were still sharp after more than 2 millennia underground. The blades had been coated with the chromium oxide layer, an anti-rust technology that would not be developed in the West until the 1930s. Pit 2 contains a more complex military formation. Cavalry, infantry, archers, and war chariots arranged in a multi-unit tactical configuration. This pit demonstrates the sophisticated military organization of the Qin army. The cavalry units include horses and riders as separate pieces, with the riders originally positioned as if mounting or ready to ride. The horses themselves are marvels of observation and craftsmanship. Their muscles are clearly defined, their nostrils flared, their ears pricked forward in alert attention. Pit 3 appears to be the command post, containing high-ranking officers and a war chariot. It is the smallest pit, but perhaps the most important strategically, representing the headquarters from which the entire army would have been directed. Feel yourself becoming lighter, more relaxed, as we explore deeper into this lost world. The construction technique used to create these figures was remarkably sophisticated. The bodies were made separately from the heads, arms, and hands. The torsos and legs were created using coils of clay, built up layer by layer. The heads were made in molds, but are then individually sculpted to create unique features. After the basic form was complete, details were added by hand. The textures of clothing, the patterns of armor, the expressions on faces. The figures were then fired in kilns at temperatures between 1000 and 1500 degrees Celsius. The warriors represent different ranks and military units identifiable by their armor, clothing, and top knots. Infantry soldiers wear simple armor or just tunics. Archers wear lighter, more flexible clothing to allow for ease of movement. Cavalry wear short armor and curved-toe boots suitable for riding. Officers are distinguished by elaborate armor and distinctive headwear, including the double-layered fish-scale armor that denoted higher rank. One of the most remarkable figures discovered is a kneeling archer, found in Pit 2. This figure is one of the best-preserved warriors, retaining much of its original detail. The archer is captured in the moment of drawing his bow, his body twisted, his expression focused and alert. His right knee is planted firmly on the ground while his left foot is positioned to allow for rapid movement. On the sole of his right shoe, you can see a detailed tread pattern, designed to provide traction on different terrain. Beyond the warrior pits, archaeologists have discovered an entire underground complex surrounding the emperor's tomb. There are pits containing bronze chariots, complete with drivers and intricate details down to the reins and harnesses. There are pits with terracotta acrobats and musicians, suggesting entertainment for the emperor's afterlife. There are pits with terracotta civil officials, administrators who would govern his eternal realm. In 1980, archaeologists discovered 2 bronze chariots buried near the tomb mound. These half-scale models are masterpieces of bronze casting and metalwork. The first chariot is a war chariot with an armored driver. The second is an elaborately decorated carriage with a covered compartment, likely representing the emperor's traveling vehicle. These chariots contain more than 3,000 pieces, including gold and silver ornaments. The level of detail is extraordinary. The reins are actually movable. The windows of the carriage can open and close, and the umbrella over the driver can be adjusted. These objects tell us that the emperor expected to travel in the afterlife, to move through his eternal kingdom in the same style and comfort he enjoyed in life. Breathe in slowly, hold, breathe out. Feel the weight of your body against whatever surface supports you. Let go of any remaining tension. The mausoleum complex itself covers approximately 56 square kilometers, making it one of the largest tomb complexes in the world. At its center is a pyramid-shaped tomb mound, originally much taller than the 76 meters it stands today. The historian Sima Qian described the interior of the tomb in vivid detail. An underground palace with rivers of mercury representing the rivers of China, mechanically flowing into a mercury sea. The ceiling was decorated with astronomical constellations, while the floor was a map of the emperor's terrestrial realm. Crossbows were set to automatically fire at intruders. The tomb was illuminated by lamps fueled by whale oil, designed to burn for an extended period. For many years, scholars debated whether Sima Qian's description was historical fact or literary embellishment. However, soil tests conducted around the tomb mound have detected remarkably high levels of mercury, lending credence to the ancient historian's account. The tomb itself has never been excavated. It remains sealed, protected both by the Chinese government's decision to preserve it for future generations with better preservation technology, and by concerns about the potential dangers within. If the mercury rivers are real, opening the tomb could release toxic vapors. If the automatic crossbow traps exist, they might still be functional after 2 millennia. This raises profound questions about archaeological ethics and preservation. Should we disturb the rest of the dead to satisfy our curiosity, or should we respect the intentions of those who created these monuments, who meant them to last for eternity? The Chinese authorities have chosen preservation over revelation, recognizing that excavation often leads to deterioration. The painted colors that fade within minutes of exposure teach us that sometimes the act of discovery itself destroys what we seek to know. Let your mind drift through these underground chambers, these silent halls where emperors dream their eternal dreams. The Qin dynasty itself was remarkably short-lived. Qin Shi Huang died in 210 BCE during a tour of his empire. According to accounts, he died far from the capital, and his advisors, fearing instability, concealed his death during the journey home. His body was transported in his carriage with fish loaded in wagons around it to disguise the smell of decomposition. After his death, the dynasty he created lasted only 4 more years before collapsing in civil war and rebellion to be replaced by the Han dynasty. Yet, despite the brevity of his dynasty, Qin Shi Huang's impact on China was permanent. He created the administrative structure that would govern China for millennia. He initiated the construction of what would become the Great Wall, connecting and extending earlier fortifications into a unified defensive system. He built a network of roads and canals that improved communication and commerce. His standardizations in writing, currency, and measurements created a unified Chinese culture from diverse regional traditions. His obsession with immortality led him to seek elixirs and magical potions. Ironically, it is believed that mercury poisoning from these very elixirs may have contributed to his death at the relatively young age of 49. He sought to live forever, but instead created monuments that would outlive him by thousands of years. His body has decayed, but his clay soldiers stand eternal watch. Breathe, in and out. Feel yourself floating through this ancient world, observer of these timeless scenes. The discovery of the Terracotta Army has transformed our understanding of ancient Chinese civilization. Before 1974, much of what we knew about the Qin dynasty came from written sources, particularly the histories written by scholars of the succeeding Han dynasty, who had reasons to portray the Qin in a negative light. The terracotta figures provide unfiltered evidence of Qin military organization, artistic capabilities, technological sophistication, and cultural practices. The weapons discovered with the warriors have revealed that the Qin army used standardized, interchangeable parts in their crossbows, a manufacturing innovation that enabled rapid production and easy repair. The crossbow triggers found in the pits are so precisely made that parts from different weapons can be swapped with each other, a level of standardization not achieved in Europe until the Industrial Revolution. The figures themselves demonstrate sophisticated understanding of human anatomy and artistic naturalism. Unlike the idealized, stylized figures common in much ancient art, the terracotta warriors are realistic portraits of actual human beings in their full diversity. Some are young, others middle-aged or elderly. Some appear stern and serious. Others seem to have slight smiles. They are not gods or heroes, but ordinary men, immortalized in clay, standing guard for their emperor through the endless centuries. Since the discovery, conservation has been an ongoing challenge. The painted surfaces deteriorate rapidly upon exposure to air. The figures are fragile, and many were already damaged by the collapse of the wooden roof structures that originally covered the pits. When the Qin dynasty fell, the capital was attacked and burned, and the fire spread to the underground pits, causing the wooden beams to collapse and crush many of the warriors below. Modern conservation efforts involve carefully controlled humidity and temperature in the excavation sites. New techniques have been developed to preserve the paint when figures are unearthed, including immediately applying a preservative layer and excavating in controlled environments. Yet, despite these efforts, much has been lost, colors faded, details eroded by time and exposure. This reminds us of the fragility of all human creations, no matter how monumental they seem. The Qin built for eternity, but their pigments fade in minutes. The emperor sought immortality, but died like all mortals. The dynasty that was meant to last 10,000 generations survived barely 15 years. Let yourself sink deeper into relaxation. Your breathing is slow and steady. Your body is heavy and at peace. What drove the creation of such a massive project? The Terracotta Army represents an extraordinary expenditure of resources and labor. 700,000 workers over nearly 40 years. Thousands of tons of clay. Forests harvested for the wood to fire the kilns and build the underground structures. The social and economic cost must have been immense. Part of the answer lies in ancient Chinese beliefs about the afterlife. Unlike some cultures that saw the afterlife as a purely spiritual realm, the Chinese believed the afterlife was similar to earthly existence, requiring the same material goods and servants. Earlier Chinese tombs contained actual human sacrifices. Servants, concubines, and soldiers buried alive or killed to accompany their masters into death. The terracotta figures represent a more humane evolution of this practice, creating clay substitutes rather than killing living people. In this sense, the Terracotta Army represents both monumental ego and a strange kind of progress. The emperor's obsession with control extended beyond death. He not only wanted protection in the afterlife, but an entire world. Warriors for defense, officials for administration, entertainers for pleasure, horses and chariots for transportation. He was recreating his earthly empire underground, ensuring that he would remain emperor for eternity. Consider the artisans who created these figures. They are anonymous, their names lost to history, but their skill is evident in every detail. They worked for decades on a project they would never see completed, creating art that would be buried and hidden, never meant for human eyes again. Yet, they still took care with every face, every strand of hair, every detail of costume and weaponry. They created beauty, knowing it would be sealed in darkness. What does this tell us about human nature? That we create not just for recognition, but for the sake of creation itself. That we put care into our work even when no one will see it. That the act of making, of bringing form out of formless clay, satisfies something deep within us. Feel your body relaxing even more deeply. Each breath takes you further into peaceful rest. The site continues to yield new discoveries. As recently as 2024, archaeologists uncovered new pits and new types of figures. Each discovery adds to our understanding of this complex site and the civilization that created it. It is estimated that only 1% of the entire mausoleum complex has been excavated. 99% remains hidden beneath the earth, waiting for future generations to explore. This incomplete knowledge invites us to dream and wonder. What else lies beneath the soil of Xi'an? What other marvels did the Qin create? What secrets does the unopened tomb hold? In a way, the mystery is as valuable as the answers. It reminds us that history is not a closed book but an ongoing story, that the past continues to speak to us if we are willing to listen. The Terracotta Army has become a symbol of China's ancient civilization and cultural heritage. Millions of visitors from around the world come to see these silent warriors each year. Exhibitions of the figures have traveled to museums internationally, allowing people everywhere to encounter this ancient world. The site was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987, recognized as having outstanding universal value to all humanity. Yet this raises questions about cultural heritage and preservation in our modern world. Who owns the past? The Terracotta Army belongs to China, created by Chinese hands on Chinese soil, yet it also belongs to all humanity, part of our shared human story of creativity, achievement, and aspiration. As we contemplate these ancient figures, we are reminded of both change and continuity. The Qin dynasty is gone. The emperor's body has turned to dust. The languages spoken by the artisans have evolved beyond recognition. The political systems, social structures, and daily life of ancient China are lost to us, except through fragments and artifacts. Yet humans remain fundamentally the same. We still seek meaning beyond our brief lives. We still create beauty and monuments. We still organize into societies and wage wars. We still dream of immortality while knowing we are mortal. The faces of the terracotta warriors could be faces of people living today. The hopes and fears of the artisans who made them are our hopes and fears. This is your meditation. To wait patiently, to endure, to remain yourself even through long periods of darkness and burial, knowing that eventually you will be seen again. Whatever you are going through, whatever challenges you face, they are temporary. You endure, you remain. Like the terracotta warriors, you will emerge again into the light. Sleep now. Dream of ancient China. Dream of skilled hands shaping clay. Dream of armies waiting patiently in the earth. Dream of discovery and wonder. Dream of our beautiful earth that holds all these stories, this precious world that we must cherish and protect. Rest well, traveler through lost worlds. Until our next journey together, may your dreams be peaceful and your sleep restorative. Good night.